What's up, Rainmakers? Are you using AI in your business? Are there maybe some misconceptions you have about AI? Are you scared to use it? Like, what are the things that are holding you back? And on today's episode, we're going to be talking all about AI, ChatGPT, how we're actually using it today in our business. And I would say, you guys know this about Stephen and I. Stephen is definitely the tech one. Like, he has known and used these different types of technology for a long time. And I'm typically the one that is a little slower to get on board, not because I don't believe in it or want to do it. I just get honestly like stuck in my ways and I get used to using one thing. And then sometimes those old methods actually are probably even slower than some of these new and updated things we're going to talk about. So Stephen is going to really go total nerd and kind of go into how it's saving our business, how he even is like using it on a daily basis to enhance our lives that I might not even be aware of. And I'm just going to be curious and ask questions. And maybe some of these questions are ones that you might even have today too.
All right, so we're talking AI today. I feel like I'm updating Chelsey on like the landscape of AI. We've done a podcast on AI before, so go check it out. Because we went a little more higher level, a little more where we think AI is going, kind of future casting. This one's going to get a little more nitty gritty and like actual tools we're using on a day-to-day basis. And I hope it'll help you out, whether you're using AI or you've never touched it before. AI is artificial intelligence. It's definitely kind of the hot new technology. It's been around like this technology, but it's become way more accessible to the everyday person in the last season. And I feel like this is probably one of those conversations we'll probably look back on in like 5 to 10 years and go like, oh my gosh, we had no idea, right? Like we had no idea. Like we were just like, it was so primitive. Kind of like we look back on the internet, like, or the early days of the computers. It's just like, oh wow, like dial up modems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we're going to have the same kind of thing with AI. So this would be a fun one to look back on, just this moment in history.
We're going to primarily focus on the first one because it is free. And I think it's honestly like one of the best ones that you can focus on, regardless of your level of being comfortable with using AI versus not. It's just one that everyone keeps going back to. And it's the one that I think is the most accessible. The others, there is some form of payment or monthly subscription that you have to sign up for. Totally not necessary right in the beginning, but I do think that they are helpful tools that you can use in your business if it makes sense for you. And if anything, I just hope that this expands your knowledge about the tools that we're using, how we're using them, and how it can benefit your life and your business today. And before you go too much into like actually how to use it, how we're using it, what do you feel like people's hesitation is right now in using AI specifically in their business?
Honestly, I think it's probably just like if they think it's more complicated than it is. And I think that's how I felt about it. It was like, oh, well, I don't know. It's like, do I have to learn this new thing? It's not like, I feel like when it first came out, kind of like computers, it was pretty technical and it was more, not as user friendly, but now it's getting way more user friendly. Like there's apps and there's ways to make it really easy. So similarly, like with the internet or a computer, like the early adopters were more the techie, nerdy ones, but now it's like definitely more mainstream and becoming more accessible. So I think that's probably the hesitation is like, oh, I tried before, or it feels like it's really complicated. And I'd say to that, hey, I think we're going to make it really easy for you to get started with something today that's going to really help you. I think the other thing too, like there's one other thought I had was, I think it's hard to like develop a new rhythm. Like you kind of get stuck in like, I use Google, right? But if you ask like any parent of a teenager right now, they're stopping using Google. Like they're using ChatGPT as their search engine, right? Like they're using that as, like, because it's more optimized, it's faster. It gets you, like you don't have to scroll through a page to find your answer. It just gives you an answer.
And I think that's where I fall is like, it's not that I'm against using AI. It's just, I haven't gotten that into my normal routine. Like I'm used to pulling out my phone. I mean, I probably do it daily, whether it's looking for a recipe for dinner or, asking where's the closest, barber shop or whatever. Like I'm just used to Google and I haven't integrated ChatGPT, even though if I trained it, it'd probably be way more accurate and way more faster. Another question before we dive into it that I was thinking of is for you, AI, these tools, they've been around for a really long time, like you said. When did you first seeing it be part of the conversation or pop up? Like, who do you think what has really like spearheaded it into now this like AI craze that we're like seeing, or
Yeah.
everybody using it and having access to it?
I mean, definitely ChatGPT, right? At
Mm.
this point, you've probably heard of ChatGPT if you're listening to this podcast. If you haven't, where have you been? OpenAI is
Send
the
it this way.
company behind ChatGPT. I mean, I'm just saying that because it was like one of the most searched search terms
Mm.
on the internet like last year. So they definitely are the ones that really pushed it mainstream, I would say. AI as a technology, though, has been around for a very long time.
Mm.
So, but OpenAI, which is like more like kind of their philosophy is like, hey, let's make this open for everyone to
For everyone,
access.
yeah.
They really pushed it with this product called ChatGPT. But yeah, let's jump into it.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
like Chelsey said, this is like about learning, but I think what I'd encourage you to do is take
Mm.
something and do something with this podcast, because if you don't start stepping into this, you're going to be left behind. Okay. You're going to like this technology is evolving so fast, and you
Mm.
don't have to just keep up with it. Just start integrating it a little bit and you'll get
Mm.
better at it. I mean, because it takes a renewing of your mindset on even like I was planning a little retreat that we're doing with a couple guys in a handful of weeks here. And I was going on Google and I was like so overwhelmed. Man, it's gonna take so long to figure out this stuff. I'm not a planner. And then I was just like, oh yeah, Chat GPT, right? And
Mm.
it even took me like it has to become your default. Like I put it as a bookmark on my computer so I like see it,
Mm.
because it's like, and I have it on my phone, and I've kind of replaced Google with it on my phone because it just encourages you to go, hey, let's try this first, as
Mm.
opposed to like working harder, because we're all about time savings and time freedom. And so this is really about giving you more leverage online
Mhm.
when it
Yeah.
comes to like stuff that can be really time consuming. So I just went to ChatGPT and I was like, hey, help me develop a guide of things to do,
Mhm.
and what are the best restaurants, and what are their phone numbers, and what are their hours. It helped me create
Mhm.
a whole like pretty impressive guide for these guys, plan this trip without really doing a ton of work myself and ton of
Mhm.
research. That would have taken me hours to do all that research, but it just whipped it up in a few minutes. That's pretty incredible. All right, so let's hop into it. Chat GPT. We're gonna go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tools
Oh,
that we are
7
using in our
tools.
business right now when it comes to AI. And these tools might be around in a few years, they might be evolving, but there's always new stuff coming out. So this is some stuff that's like, been around, and some new stuff that's really cool that we're using right now in our business. So, and our life, I would say. Chat GPT definitely makes its way into our family life as well. So you'll hear about that. So the first one is Chat GPT. Okay, you've heard us say it
ChatGPT.
1,000 times. How do you get to it? Just go to Google and search for Chat GPT, and it'll pop up. Okay. And basically treat it like a Google search engine, but
Mhm.
that's like really smart, right? It can do kind of anything. It can really do anything for you. It can't like go like, you know, pay your taxes for you yet, but it could definitely help you plan some tax strategy. It could help you like you summarize some data. So this will give you some ideas to get the ideas rolling. So again, like we use this in our personal life and our professional life. So on the personal side of things, I love to use ChatGPT to come up with stories to tell our kids at night. Like I'm pretty creative, but like,
Seems
when they're
very
asking
creative.
for that fourth story before they go to bed, I'll be like, hey guys, let's make a story together. And we give ChatGPT the elements of the story, and then it creates an amazing story. And I like to even give it like the lessons I want to teach to you. I'm like, hey, help me create a story for my 4-year-old Kai and my 2-year-old Ollie. Have it have these elements. And they're
Mhm.
like throwing in funny stuff like, a big belly, and like, a big splash. And they always like big things, right? So we give it a bunch of things, wolves and coyotes and, whatever. And then I'll say, and make it a story with like a positive lesson
Mhm.
on, an overcomer mindset versus a victim mindset. So I'll give it some
Mhm.
sort of like
Yeah, that's good.
theme or like kind of goal of the story, right? Like, what's the lesson of the parable? And it'll literally craft a whole story for them. And the crazy part is, like, you can have it do this via text and just ask it this via text, and it'll give you text back that you can read.
Mm.
Or if you get the Chat GPT app, which I'd highly recommend, there's a little like microphone or a little speech bubble thing, and you can talk to it, and it'll actually read the story back to you. You
Mm.
can change the voice. So Kai likes to change the different voices, and it'll actually read the story back to you, which is just so crazy, right? It'll create a story and it'll read it back to you. And so these are Kai's and some of his favorite stories. So
Mm.
that's just
And
one way
they're
we
good.
we use it in
Yeah.
our family life, and it's
Mm.
just a fun thing to do. So try that sometime. The app is amazing for doing that.
Mm. Another thing I'm thinking of, like we have a lot of people in Rainmakers who go through this program called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, or maybe
Yeah.
you had a dream to write a children's book. I feel like I've talked with so many moms or family members that are like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool to like write a book or write a children's book and get it out there in the world? And maybe you've been struggling with to create a script. ChatGPT can help you do that.
Oh
Or you
man,
can even
crazy.
give it to you some like copy for social media and you can train it to have your voice. Of course, you can like add in things and take that as a reference point and then make it your own and put your own spin on it. But what a great way to start the process and make it better.
Yeah, I hear so many people talk about writing books, and I mean, children's books so easy to generate on ChatGPT. We did this for one of our children's books. It's called The Rainmaker, How to Win When Life Gives You Rain. The first draft we did through ChatGPT, and then we took it and we made it our own. We worked with a ghostwriter, and we kind of like we tweaked it from there. But I was so impressed. Like I kind of gave it the concept of the story, I gave it the elements of where we wanted to go, and it wrote it out. And then you know what I did? I said, make it rhyme.
Oh,
And it
that's
took the
good.
story and it made it rhyme. And I was like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
It kept all the elements, but it like added the rhyming. So
Yeah.
I think the key with ChatGPT is not like, you know, what you use it for. It's actually how you use it. They call
Yeah.
this prompt engineering. And so it's not about what you ask it, but it's about how you ask it. So just know that you can like refine what it gives you.
Yeah.
And so like even with that pod retreat that I was planning, I was like, hey, give me the top 5 restaurants in the area. And it gave it to me. I was like, oh, wait, can you add the driving time from this address? Like, how far are they? And it added that. I was like, oh, you know what? Can you add the phone number and can you add the website and can you add the hours of operation? Right. And so I'm like, I'm digging into it deeper and giving it more. Right. If it gives you a story and it's too long or too complicated, hey, can you make that at a 3rd grade reading level for me? Can you make the sentences shorter? Can you make it like have a lot of alliteration and using the word be in it? Right. Like you can like push back on it and have a conversation with it. And like, that's where the magic is. So don't just like take the first answer it gives you. Sometimes you're like, hey, what's the top 5 things to do in my city? And the first 5 things are good, but like, go like, hey, what's the next 5 things? Right. And it's digging deeper on its search engine. It's referencing Google, referencing the internet. And I would just tell you this disclaimer too. It does hallucinate sometimes. So like definitely fact check what it's saying because sometimes it's just completely wrong. However, it's getting better. All right. So let's talk about other ways we use ChatGPT. We're going to focus a lot on this one because it's definitely, I would say, the most versatile, most accessible one that you should definitely be using. Like I said, just replace Google with it on your phone. Like wherever Google's living on your phone in your search engine, you go to search like, I need a recipe for blah, blah, blah. Just try to replace it with ChatGPT because you can really get very customized answers. Hey, I want a recipe on this thing. Oh, actually, can you make it gluten-free and dairy-free? What are some good substitutes for this thing that I could substitute instead of that? Right. Like you can dig into this thing. Okay. So other ways we're using it, I would say data summary is a huge way I'm using it in the business. A lot of times there's these big, long things that you got to read, right? Or like a big, long spreadsheet of information, or you do a survey to your customers. We will take that and put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you summarize the main points, themes, things like that here? Right. We did a survey recently. We had like hundreds of answers. And I was like, I want to know like the top 5 themes in these answers. And it pulled them out. Right. And I was like, okay, what are the 5 solutions to those things that we can glean from those answers? And that was so helpful. You can even do this with long podcasts, videos, that type of thing. You can say like, you know, grab the transcript of a video off YouTube. You know, maybe this is hour-long podcast, right? And you don't have time to listen to the whole thing. You just want to get the juice really quick. Grab the transcript, throw it in ChatGPT and say, hey, summarize the main point of this in 1 sentence, 2 sentences, a couple paragraphs for me. I was talking to a top podcaster at a mastermind event. I mean, this guy's had people that, you know, you'd see on Joe Rogan are on this guy's show. And I was like, he does 6 podcasts a day. He's like a professional podcast. That's all he does. 6 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Every single
No,
day.
not every day. I think it's like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
He does
That's
6.
so a lot.
He said the most he's ever done, I think, was like 18 in a day. So this guy has so many guests on his shows. I was asking him, how do you prepare for those shows? He's like, ChatGPT. He's like, I just say, hey, can you summarize their book? Can you show me some main points? Can you help me come up with questions for this person?
Good.
Literally, like he's using AI to like prompt it to get the questions for these guests. So he's showing up prepared to these interviews. He has multiple So how cool is that? So data summaries. I've also used this again. This is a little more nerdy, but Excel formulas like Google Sheets or Excel. I'm not like the most expert on that, but sometimes I've been like, how do I do this math problem or I create a spreadsheet that does this thing? I'll go to ChatGPT and actually ask it how to do it. And it'll actually give you the code to do it, like the formulas, as well as coding. I mean, I've seen, I've done this once and it worked. I'm not a coder, but if you are doing anything on your website and you need help making it, ChatGPT can code for you, which is crazy. And I've seen Bruce do this, who, you know, he's developed some apps that we have for our business. And I've seen him do this live where, yeah, he had a client who was like, I need this thing tomorrow, right? It was a custom way to like check out on their website. And he literally used ChatGPT to create the code to like modify an existing widget they had on their website and like modify it on the fly, asking ChatGPT to say, hey, here's the code. I need to do this. Can you code it for me? And literally just did it right there.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy,
So
you know? The last ways we're using ChatGPT, like I said, planning stuff, right? Like planning trips, planning, you know, events, planning, you know, itineraries, meeting agendas. Research is huge. And of course, content. Like, it can produce content, it can produce copy, it can produce blog posts. We could upload this podcast and say, can you create a blog post based on the content of this podcast? You know, and it could create that for our blog. So of course, like, you know, you want to add your human element to it. It's getting better. I would definitely say, you know, you can kind of tell when something's AI, but there's a lot of people that can't tell. I mean, you've seen a lot of like stuff floating around the internet with the hurricanes and stuff. I've seen tons of photos on Facebook lately. That's like, oh my gosh, you see this photo of alligators in people's pools, and it's like totally AI generated. You know what I mean? So it's going to get a little wild in the next season when we really blur the lines between what is AI generated, what is not, and when you really can't tell, and it's getting like really close to it. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, I would say one last thing, ChatGPT. I use the voice one a lot on the phone. So get the ChatGPT app and you can literally talk with it like it's a person and it'll have a conversation with you. And so I'm not doing this like just as my little best friend AI over here, but I'll do it for like research or like, you know, maybe you have a job interview coming up. You could ask it, like put it on the voice mode while you're driving, like you're driving somewhere, you're just like, hey, I want to use this as productive time. Hey, can you pretend to be a job recruiter for this job and interview me? Right. And it'll throw you questions and you could practice, right? Maybe you're a salesperson and you could say, hey, can you pretend to be, you know, a customer who's really hesitant to buy the product, just slightly hesitant to buy my product. And let's do a mock sales call, right? And it can literally go back and forth with you. So if you haven't tried like the voice feature on the phone, definitely try it. Whether you're trying to create content, something like that, you can say, hey, interview me, ask me questions and take notes of all these things. This can be like your assistant, your note taker. So ChatGPT, we wanted to spend a lot of time on this one because it's the one that's very versatile. You can even use it to generate images. You can say, hey, create a logo, create an image on this, and it'll actually do that as well. So get in there and play around with it. Okay. If you take one action item and you haven't been using it, jump in there, chatgpt.com, or get the app on your phone. Super easy, accessible. Replace your Google with it and start to use it and start to learn how to prompt it to get what you need.
So ChatGPT, you can use this in so many different areas. Like Stephen said, replace Google with ChatGPT. If that's anything that I'm going to take from this conversation and from even Stephen and I planning this episode for you, is I'm going to start replacing Google and see what happens. Again, I'm so used to that muscle of Google, which is hard to say so many times like that. But I need to replace it with ChatGPT to understand and to learn it. And it's just like anything, like it takes a little bit of time. And then by the end, you'll be like, oh man, why wasn't I even using this? So we're going to go ahead and move on to some other areas. I know so many of our listeners right now, we've talking about like creating content, and content is one of those things that so many business owners need to be doing, are doing, whether it's content for your website, content for your social media, content for the product listing that you are writing. That is all content. And that can be very time consuming. And sometimes I think there's a creative element that you want to have a spin on, but you're just not know where to go. So the next ones are really going to have to do with content and how to make it more efficient, give you more leverage in your life, which I love.
There's a couple of tools I use for quick, like social media content, even long form video type stuff. So if you find yourself doing like talking videos, or you need that type of thing for your business, here's a couple tools that may help you on that front. So one that I've been loving lately is called Captions. Captions, it's an iPhone, an Android app. So it's called Captions. And initially I just downloaded this app for like putting captions on videos, right? Like you're doing an Instagram video and you want to have some captions on there. It's great for that, but they have some new AI features that are pretty impressive. So one of them is they are basically approaching content creators, like they call these UGC creators, right? Like user generated content. There's a whole niche of these type of creators who like make product videos and reviews and that type of thing. So they're approaching UGC creators and they're like, hey, become an AI model, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so these people are signing up to become AI models and it's learning their likeness. AI is learning it. And then basically you can use these UGC creators for your business. Pretty crazy. So if you need an ad of someone talking about your business, you can actually generate this completely with AI using one of these UGC AI models. And the pretty wild thing is you can actually have it mirror your voice. So let's say you come up with a script. You can read it in your voice and be like, hey guys, we have this cool thing coming up, this event. It's going to be awesome. You should be there. And then literally it'll clone your voice. Like it'll actually have their voice mimic your inflection. So like if you're excited, they're going to be excited. If you're down, they're going to be down. Right. And then it'll actually AI generate their lips moving to be like saying that script. And then like it'll create a video for you. So like I've done this and I've shown a couple people at a mastermind and they're just like, this is crazy. Like it looks like an influencer on Instagram is walking and talking to the camera, but it's literally like I created that script, I talked it out, and then it basically mirrored me with her instead of me.
Okay. I want to know, why are you excited about this specifically? Because I hear this and I can just, I think where it is like not everybody knows that this is a thing yet. And I feel like there's, a crowd of people are like, whoa, that's really cool and like wild. Like somebody I can send them my voice or I can send them a script and they will record it for me. That's crazy. And then there's another side where I think people are thinking like, that's really creepy. Why are you excited about that? Like, why do you feel like it's an important thing to be using?
Well, it definitely can be creepy, right? Because like it's going to get to the point where you can't tell. Right now, like you can still kind of tell, right? But it's going to get to the point where you cannot tell if it's AI or a human. And it's already happening, So it's kind of one of these things that's so powerful. It could be used for good or it could be used for evil, right? And so you can choose what you want to do with it. But what we are doing with that is I know how time intensive it is to create an ad for our business. Like for me to go out and shoot something, it takes time. And Chelsey is honestly in a lot of our ads. And so her time is even more so limited because of the schedule we've created. And so like for me to go to Chelsey and have an ad, let's shoot an ad. And if you know anything about running ads, like, that you're going to have a lot of ads. Like you don't just create one ad. You want like hundreds of variations of that ad to figure out what's going to work. Right. So I see the time savings of like, okay, let's not bother Chelsey and have her shoot something we don't even know if it's going to work. Let's have this AI model do it and let's run 100 versions of that thing. Right. And then let's figure out what's going to work and then have Chelsey do the one that worked. Right. So like I'm saving her time by doing this in advance. So our team that's like helping with running ads and things like that is starting to use this really for testing. Like why take a human's time when we could just use a machine? Right. And then once it works, then we'll bring in a human in because the thing that I think AI is not able to do right now is like the emotion, right? It's like it can't do the emotion as strong. It's getting better, but as of now, it's like hard to get that real life touch, right? Of like my hands are really matching up right now with my words, and I have that tone and all those things, the pacing. It's not nailing that 100% yet, and so bringing in a human for that is great. So that's what I'm excited about. It's the time savings of creating videos, like because you guys know creating videos takes forever. Okay, Chelsey, feel good about captions. I know you don't like that one as much, but you're going to move on to the last three here.
Yes, okay. It's taking me a little bit to warm up to that.
Okay, so there's that one. Okay, I know people might use that for good. People might not use that for good, but I know people listening to the show are going to use it for good. These last two or last three, same kind of thing. Like, AI is a very powerful tool. So let's stay on the content creation front, and then we'll end with the chat-based one. So two other things in the video content creation space, like this is the space that is definitely like was not great like a year ago. A year ago, it just not like it was not there, but it's definitely getting there, like and becoming more accessible. So two that I've been playing around with in the last month is Delphi and HeyGen. Okay, so Delphi and HeyGen, these are both AI video creation tools specifically to like create AI videos of yourself. And if your business, you're creating a lot of videos for your clients, or maybe you want to create like a knowledge base, or like I was at a mastermind and there's a doctor presenting and she has all these videos she needs to create on like what is liposomes and like all these things, liposomes, and what is, this thing or that thing. And they're just like sciencey videos. And she used to have to do her hair and makeup and hire a filming crew and shoot for 8 hours a day. But now she has these tools where her team can just literally update a script, and then she has an AI clone who does the video.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy, right? So HeyGen is the one. If you want to like upload scripts, HeyGen probably the way to go. So HeyGen, you shoot some high quality videos of yourself talking for like 3 to 5 minutes. You might already have some videos of this, like, and you upload them to HeyGen, and it creates an AI model of you. But these sites, HeyGen and Delphi, what I do like about them, there's some more security kind of on them. So they're not just like releasing your likeness to other people to use. So the ones like Captions, like those models are kind of like, hey, sign me up to say anything. You're not doing this on these platforms. On these platforms, you're like, hey, this is my thing. And you have to like sign a thing. It's like, this is only for me.
Okay. Wow.
Right. So HeyGen, I just did this. And so like you can create videos of yourself, just literally updating a script, and it'll be Stephen talking. It'll even have the hand motions and everything. And it's pretty impressive. And how I see us using this is taking like, these podcasts, for example, and translating them into other languages using HeyGen.
That would be cool.
And it'll have me and Chelsey ripping back and forth in Spanish on our Spanish YouTube channel. And our mouths will even line up. It'll look like we're speaking Spanish, but we're not, right? And we can do this in French and German and Japanese and Korean, right? And we can put, the Rainmaker family mindset all over the world. And we're just shooting one episode, right? We're shooting an English episode, and then HeyGen's translating, matching up our, AI lips and like putting it out in different languages. I think that's pretty awesome. We're also going to use this for content creation, like in our course and things like that, like where, we just got to update this curriculum. Why don't I just empower our team to just upload a script and have, AI Stephen just handle that one instead of like me putting time in my calendar to do it. Now, there's certain stuff I'm still going to do. This is definitely going to be a big piece of leverage for us. HeyGen.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you need high quality video. What does high quality video mean? Can it just be on your cell phone? If you use your cell phone, what type of settings do you need? Or do you need like a more fancier DSLR camera?
The better quality you give it, the better output it's going to give you. Okay. So if you do a cell phone video, it's going to look like a cell phone video that comes out.
And will it be like more choppy and won't look as realistic? Is that what you think?
No, it worked. I mean, on the site, it'll coach you through it. It'll say, you can shoot this with your cell phone if you're just trying to test it real quick. But if you're trying to create like a legit AI model of yourself that you're going to be using, in all your videos and all the stuff, shoot it with a nice camera, So like shoot it with a high quality camera. So again, it's like what you give it is what it gives you. So good inputs, good outputs, bad inputs, bad outputs. So the iPhone's pretty good. I mean, if you were going to do it on your iPhone, shoot it on the back camera because it's higher quality than the front camera. Okay. Have a friend help you shoot it and put it on a tripod. So it's very stationary. Switch it to 4K mode. The iPhone shoots pretty good quality, but you got to have your settings dialed to make sure like lighting is good, because it's, like I uploaded a video where I had like a stain on my shirt. I always have stains on my shirt right here because I hold snotty kids who are like, they bump their knee and they're crying and I give them a hug. And so like my shirts always have a stain on like the whatever shoulder that is. And so I uploaded a HeyGen video and I was like, dang, I don't have a stain in like every video, like, so I had to re-upload another video where I had a clean shirt.
Okay. So another question, just backing up a little bit, since you were talking it, and I feel like other people might have this question too about Captions. So, these people say like your friend could sign up to be like one of these models, AI models. Do you know how much like people are getting paid? Because I think of it, I would be curious to what they're getting paid, because it's like, I feel like maybe somebody out there, I'm not going to do this, but I just think about like, my face could pop up in this viral ad with content that I don't agree with. So that's kind of crazy.
So that's what I wouldn't do it if you're an influencer, like, because you might want to be promoting everything. But these people who are doing this, they're like UGC creators. That's their business. So they're used to like just hawking products all the time. That's their business model. Like, so I mean, maybe at some point, this is a genius business idea. Someone needs to do this with celebrity influencers, and then you pay a lot more for those. And the celebrities will get paid a lot more for those. But not every celebrity is going to sign up to just like do that. But I mean, there's sites like Cameo. Cameo is very similar, right? But it's real people, not AI. You can go on Cameo and you can buy a shout out from like Kevin Harrington, or like, Shark Tank guy or like whatever. And you can give them a script and they'll say it like, oh, hey, Mark, happy birthday. Like, I heard that you're going to the baseball game tonight. Like, they'll say whatever you want. They're like, these celebrities literally signed up to do this.
Wow.
So I bet there's an AI version of that coming. Where, you could have John Stamos do an AI video, and it's probably going to cost a lot more, but that's probably coming. So I would say the difference between these two, Captions really great on your iPhone or your Android on the go, for getting captions, but also doing these AI mirroring things. HeyGen can do similar things, but it's more like on your computer. It's more if you want to create a clone of yourself. Now, HeyGen does have AI models on there very similarly. You can have like a yoga girl, or you can have like a corporate woman, right? But I just think HeyGen really where it shines is creating one of yourself.
And how cool would this to be, especially if you've thought about creating a course or doing any kind of like longer form video and you're not even sure yet if that's actually going to sell? Like, how cool would it be is like, I think like the script
Oh
and
man.
getting what you're saying is the hardest part, especially when it comes to courses and all of that. So what if you could just use like HeyGen or Delphi to even experiment and see like, is this even landing
Crazy.
with my audience? Do they actually want to buy it? And then you could always like re-record them later on if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Like
that's
what a
pretty
quick and
wild.
easy way to like, here's the script that I've been working on. Let's just see if it
Yeah.
sells and then go from there.
And
So
guess how you can
that
write the
is cool.
script? ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So you could literally
exactly.
go to ChatGPT and say, I'm going to make a course. This would be super meta. Someone do this. Okay. I want to make a course on how to use AI video. Can you help me create a course outline? ChatGPT spits it out.
Mm,
Okay. Can you help me write the script for every video in that outline? You just go through it one by one. It
mm.
writes the script for you. Take the script, you upload it to HeyGen. You have some AI, model, do it, or your AI version,
I should
do
do
it.
this. There are a million
Like
things
Chelsea's
on my plate.
AI script. This is so easy that
Steven gives me
even,
ideas on the podcast of
yeah,
ways that I want to do it,
you
but
could have
I'm
an AI
already
course for beginners and say, I literally know nothing about AI and I create this whole thing with AI. And it could be
yeah.
like AI Chelsea teaching it.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
true.
Dang, this could be
Okay.
cool. So send Chelsea the word AI and she'll send you this. Just kidding.
I don't have it ready yet.
Okay. So
We have
HeyGen
one more.
is for creating videos
Yes.
with your own likeness. Okay. Now Delphi is similar but different.
Mm,
So Delphi, Delphi. Okay. Delphi.
mm,
Delphi is for creating an AI clone of yourself using your knowledge base. Okay.
mm,
Now, how could you use this for your business or your life? If you're an author, you're a speaker, you've written books, you have a podcast, you can upload all of that into Delphi to kind of like
mm,
train its brain. And then similar to HeyGen, it's going to ask you for some videos of yourself and it can create an AI version of you that people can actually chat with. And
mm,
it's pretty crazy. So you can go on there and you can literally like have a video call. Like imagine I do this and we
mm,
upload all our podcasts, all our curriculum, all our training. You could literally have a video call with my clone and it would
mm,
answer questions as if I would answer them. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be trained on all my knowledge base, right? I'm putting
mm,
that in air quotes. Okay. So pretty crazy. You can also use this with customer support. I mean, imagine this in your business. Maybe you don't have the budget to have a full customer support department, but you have a Google Doc that has like your most common customer support questions, answers, and
mm,
basically a knowledge base. You could upload that and then you could have a customer support person. It's a clone, AI clone, and people could literally go chat with them via text. They can chat with them via audio, or they can even have a phone number they call, and it can just be an AI phone
Wow.
call. Or you can have a video call. So they do text, phone, and video, right? So how cool is this? Like, I mean, you can go on Delphi. They have some cool, like, well-known people on there where you could like just go call, Robert Kiyosaki or whatever and be like, hey, like rich dad, poor dad, like if I was going to buy this property, what's your advice? Right. And he would give you advice as if it was Robert doing that. So that's pretty wild. I think that's one that is just fun to play around with. Go on the website and play around with
Mhm.
it. But if that could apply to your business, whether it's customer support or creating a knowledge base or creating something that can serve people at a high level, check it out. Check it out. Okay, last one. Let's wrap this up. The fifth one here, it's Chatbase. Okay, Chatbase. This one, if you're using ChatGPT to kind of like do stuff for your business, but you want to make it more maybe customer focused, Chatbase is a way you can kind of create a bot that is more like embeddable on a website. So like, here's an example. Let's say you have a Shopify site and you want to create a bot on there that is going to do customer support, right? Similarly to some of these other ones, you could upload that knowledge base to Chatbase, okay, Chatbase, and then you could create like an embeddable widget for your website that people
Mm,
could go ask questions on, and it would interact with them based on the knowledge base. So Chatbase is really good for like embeddable widgets
mm,
that are chat based, okay, for like maybe your website. So again, a little more advanced, but we use this if you're in our Rainmaker world, in our Rainmaker app. there's a thing called AI Toolkit. We have like a Sophie, who's the Instagram bio writer. We have Nova, who's a product innovator and innovation expert for products. These are all built on Chatbase using our knowledge base. And you can actually chat with like Nova, and she'll help you come up with product ideas, how to innovate on them, that type of thing. That's built on the back of Chatbase. Okay, so chatbase.io, I think is their website. So yeah, there it is, you guys, the 5 tips. I know we spend a lot of time on ChatGPT. So if you're gonna use one, that's the easiest one. Get in
Yeah.
there. If any of the video tools would be helpful for you, download the app Captions. I think that is a paid. A lot of these other ones are paid. ChatGPT is free. They do have a paid version. However, Captions, HeyGen, Delphi, Chatbase, these ones are going to be paid tools. So if that makes sense for your business, go for it. But if anything, go play around with these things and start learning about AI, because it's evolving very quickly. And like I said, we're going to live in a completely different world because of AI in just a handful of years. And you don't want to be not in the know of what's going on.
Mm. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmakers is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.